So, but let's get into your life here. There's so much that's going on paper. So I want to kind of peel apart the layers a little bit. So I want to begin with, how did you survive the last 3.5 years? How did you get through the pandemic, and how did it subsequently change you?
How did it change me? I started the nonprofit basically in 2019. So I was incorporated in November of 2018. And 2019 hit, and I went to Nepal twice. I had a very short trip in January of 2019, and then I had a month-long trip in October of 2019. And then I got home and I started to hear all these rumors about something happening in China, because I try to keep my ear to the ground that way. And by March 2020, March 2020,
Yeah.
Washington State was ground zero for coronavirus.
Right. Yep.
My first thought was, oh crap, how do I travel? I can't travel. How do I run this nonprofit? What am I supposed to do? And my second thought was, okay, pivot, adapt, evolve. And I reached out to 3 homeless shelters here in the area, and only one responded. I said, this is who we are. This is what we do. Our primary focus is on food and housing for impoverished and homeless elders. And the only one that responded happened to basically specialize in elders. The population that they catered to were all over the age of 55, and a lot of them were military veterans. So I spent 2020 through 2020, early 2023, working with them during the winters and providing hot meals and kind of really getting my bearings, so to speak. If we can't navigate crises, we shouldn't be in business. And I had to remind myself that. So I was able to support the elder care home in Farping, which was the whole reason I formed this nonprofit, was to help this elder care home in Farping. And I really had no clear understanding, excuse me, I didn't have a clear understanding of where this nonprofit was supposed to go. I just knew that I was supposed to form it. And so not being able to travel and having to hunker down and circle my own emotional wagons forced me to have a really good long look at what I was doing, what I wanted to do, what was my original intention with this nonprofit, have honest conversations with my board members who are brutally honest in exchange, which is why I love them. And sometime around 2022, I decided to expand. I figured with tourists travel being so low, there had to be other impoverished countries that were suffering.
Yeah.
So I reached out to someone I know in Switzerland. He travels to Guatemala all the time, and he decided, I'm going to be there in May. Let me have a look around for you. Tell me what you're looking for. I have a lot of contacts there. I know a lot of people. Tell me what you're looking for. I told him exactly what I wanted. I want an elder care home where the people who run it don't take a salary. I'm not paying for their salary. I'm paying to support these elders. I just had some very simple requirements. And at that point in May, when he traveled over there, he reached out to me and he said, I think I found a really great place. It's run by 4 nuns. Hello. They take a vow of chastity, obedience, and service, I think. Hello. What do you want me to do? I gave him a list of 23 questions. He translated everything into Spanish, translated all the answers. This elder care home not only gave me all the answers, they opened their books. They told me how much it costs to run the elder care home every month. They gave me all the information. I went, okay, took it in front of my board and I said, it looks like we have a second location.
Excellent.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I told them my big, hairy, audacious goal. It's not just supporting these elder care homes, eventually going out and going into these hard hit areas, working with local organizations, rounding up these homeless elders, bringing them to a place of safety, building an elder care home, helping make sure it's supported and staffed, helping them build a sustainable food program so they can be more self-sustaining, give them the tools they need to help support these people. And the pandemic really helped me acknowledge all that and speak my truth. The pandemic helped me sit down and tell my board, this is what I want to do. Joe, it was scary. I won't deny it. When you harbor something for so long that you think is a pipe dream,
Right.
and here you are, this one tiny ass little person up against multi-million-dollar organizations, you just, when you finally say it out loud, to have people around you that you know and trust go, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So that's what the pandemic helped me do. It helped me focus. And if
Yeah.
I think if I hadn't have been able to have that time, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah. There's nothing like validating the dream, validating your reality, you know? I mean, we have this very materialistic world we live in, but at the end of the day, everybody has a dream. And if you can find your way to that, and we all, as the backdrop is that we're just all these small people on this little dot in the middle of a universe, if we can pull it off, it's pretty miraculous, you know?
Right.
So
We're on this spinning rock in space.
yes, exactly, hurtling all over. So let me ask you this. You know, you're a nonprofit leader, you're a photographer, you're a writer, but at the end of the day, if I put you in front of a bunch of third graders at career day and one of the kids is curious and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
I take a genuine interest in other people, have compassion for them, and want to share their stories.
So, what did you No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I did
No, no, that's it.
yeah, okay.
I'm
So,
thinking that's it.
yeah, yeah. So what did you want to be when you were in the 3rd grade? What was your dream?
I had a long list of things I wanted to be when
There
I was
you
in third
go.
grade, including being a princess.
Uh-huh.
Um, but again, that was only if being a writer didn't work out. I um I knew I wanted to be a writer in
Okay.
third. I was already writing in grade school, and my parents really encouraged it. My mom used to tell me, write about what you know, and I thought, I don't know anything. I'm only in third grade. And I really didn't know anything until I blew my own mind and took this trip to Nepal for whatever reason. I had to go. Um, that's when I really understood what it means to be a human being and to translate that into writing. Um, but yeah, I wanted to be everything when I was in third grade.
Sure. So, it's so weird to me now thinking about this that Kate Blanchett played Bob Dylan, and I remember seeing that movie.
Kate
And
Blanchett played Bob Dylan.
yeah, did you ever see yeah.
Did I miss? How did I miss this?
I It was kind of an underground, but it got on, Netflix or something. Yeah. So there's a part in
Okay.
there where in the movie he's always having these flashbacks because he's going through these epiphanies of what he wants to do, and he finally realizes he's this kind of revolutionary figure and he's tussling with all of these voices. But at one point he was having this vision, or she was, however we want to say it, and there was this maid that was in a kitchen, and he was just struggling over what he was going to write, what he was going to do. And she just stopped and said, "Just write what's around you. What are you worried about? What are you doing?" And I think about the pandemic. I think about what you're saying, and it really is about that because each of us has a unique experience. And if I may hearken a little bit to my other day job as a jazz guy, I've never learned more about being in the moment and cerebral and visceral than I have being around jazz musicians. It literally is something that happens once and it's over with, you know?
Right.
And you have to just document what's in front of you. So let me ask you this. What book was it that really opened your fascination up? What made you want to either read more or write?
Oh, wow. Um, I read so many books when I was young, Joe. I
Yeah,
mean, my mother couldn't keep up. I was reading the encyclopedia because I was bored.
yeah,
What book really opened my eyes? I mean, there are all these childhood books that I think they still read these days, but maybe not. Do they even read anymore in grade school? I mean, there was the Phantom Toll Booth.
yeah,
There was here's this obscure book called Here Comes Herb's Hurricane. I still have it.
yeah,
A very obscure book, but they were just these fantastical, um, imaginative books that just
yeah.
transported you. I went through just about every book I could find in the school library. I was always in there. I was always reading. I, Books really do open up the world for children.
Yeah.
And it's not just nonfiction. It has to be fiction. It has to give kids the opportunity to think creatively and expand their mind and imagine someplace different.
Yeah,
Imagine a different world. And that's the only way we can create a different world. If
sure,
we can see it, we can believe it. If we believe it, we can create it.
for sure. So, who's been a hero for you in your life?
My father.
Yeah,
Sorry, that just no hesitation there. I don't have to think about it. It's my
yeah.
father, who's my best friend, greatest inspiration, greatest critic for my writing. He was a photographer. Um, just my best friend, honest. He taught me all kinds of values, everything that I have continued to carry forward to today. I love my mom too. Okay, no, nothing against her, but my dad was my
Yeah.
inspiration.
So, of all of the people that exist on the planet right now, if you could meet one person, who would it be? Who's that one
Oh,
person?
oh, oh, Joe. Oh wow, seriously?
Yeah. Or a round table, whatever works. And if you need to open the door up to ghosts, that's fine.
No, I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna say it. It's I want to meet Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Ah, interesting.
Um, Influential people, done a lot of work in conservation in Africa, continuing to do work here in the United States for veterans, veterans all over the world. Um, yeah.
And they're probably the only ones that have really gone up against the farce of what we think the royal family is all about, right? Has anybody ever done that?
The people in Britain, I have a couple of friends in Britain, and I really don't want to call them out on their BS, but yeah, they really are, because people in Britain know exactly what a farce the royal family is, what that whole corporation is, that whole organization is, and they just continue to feed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
You
We
know,
see we
go
see
ahead.
versions of that in America
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so what is the motivation for you? You're obviously very highly driven. You're really giving a lot of yourself. You want to help, you want to make a change, you want to send ripples, and you're also a creative. What is the kind of inspiration every day for you to get up, to do the work that you do, to evolve as a human? What is that for you?
Um, I don't, I don't know that I can put my finger on why I do this work. All I know is that it's kind of like a calling. Um, there are actual UN statistics by the year 2050. That's that's 26 years from now, Joe.
Yeah.
26 years from now. I don't know how old you're going to be in 26 years. I'm going to be 84 in 26 years.
77.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You did the math really fast. I'm impressed.
Yes.
Um, so in 26 years, the global population of people over the age of 60 will reach 2.1 billion people. And of that 2.1 billion, 426 million will be over the age of 80. And of that entire population, 80% of them are going to be living in low to middle income countries. And we're living longer. And we're just going to keep living longer. And this problem is just going to keep getting worse. And I think about my parents. I think about my grandparents. I'm Greek, a Greek descent.
Yeah.
So very ethnic.
Yeah.
I have like 50 cousins. And, you know, my father's cousins are my cousins. And they're, you know, that I think about all these old people I've known through my years. And a couple of years ago, a family in Mexico was so desperate, they put their mother out in a cardboard box by the side of the road with a blanket.
Wow.
In Japan, one woman got so desperate, she drove her father out off the expressway and dropped him at a bus stop on the expressway. Here in the United States, someone made a deal with some friend of his in the UK, shipped his father off to the UK. The guy went and got him from the airport, drove him to a bus station, drove around for a little bit, then came back and pretended to find him so that his father, his friend's father, could get some care in the national healthcare system there. And this is a global problem. I don't know how old your parents are. Mine are both gone. But this is a global problem, and it's growing, and it's going to keep growing. And the thought of having my parents out in the streets, the thought of leaving either one of my parents, being so desperate, having nowhere to turn, no resources, nowhere to go, that you take your father and leave him at a bus stop on the expressway.
Yeah.
And we have resources in this country.
Yeah.
They have resources in Western countries.
Mm-hmm.
Where I work in Nepal and Guatemala, they just abandon their elders.
Yeah.
In Guatemala, they take their parents to the hospital. Their parents get sick. They take them to the hospital. They leave them. No one comes to claim them. No one picks them up. In Nepal, they move out of the country.
Wow.
Leave them behind. So I'm just determined. I can't save everybody. I know I can't. I'm okay with that. But if I can save one more elder, then it makes a difference for that person who's not sleeping on the streets.
Yeah.
Because they do.
So of all of the things that you've done and evolved and become, what are you the proudest of?
Dang. Believe it or not, oh my God. I think I'm probably proudest that I finally finished the stinking book.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that was a really emotional, long, drawn out, agonizing, painful process.
Yeah.
Not that building this nonprofit from scratch hasn't been painful, but this was the book was very much slice your heart open and leave it out there for the world to see. I think I'm proudest that I finally had the courage to get it over the finish line.
So speaking of literature and imagination and the limitless possibilities, if you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see one event in human history with your own eyes, where are you going?
Oh, wow. Long dramatic pause while I try to think of something.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm thinking of I'm going back to Nepal because it really is my second home. And I'm thinking of going back in time and witnessing some of these coronations or events because they're just recently out of a monarchy.
Yeah.
And so I can't think of any one event though.
Yeah, that's fine.
But just some of those old majestic, where everybody else was a pauper and you had
Yeah.
all these rich people.
Yeah.
Something, yeah.
Yeah. So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Um, I have to trust what everyone else says I am. Um, I think I'm just some schmuck. I think I'm just some stubborn, middle-aged woman who won't let stuff go and insists on running this nonprofit. And I'm going to do it and I'm going to get there. And, I have all these other large nonprofits patting me on the head and going, oh, that's so cute. You should probably sell out. No. So I just feel like I'm just some stubborn old schmuck.
Yeah.
And everyone else sees me differently. So I'd rather go with what they see.
So if anyone out there wants to pick up your book that you work so hard and it's finally out on the streets, if they want to get that, they want to learn more about you, get involved with your nonprofit, anything and everything, what do they do? How do they do that?
Two ways. The book is called Drowning in Now, A Search for God and Humanity at the Top of the World. Look for the adorable little fluffy dog on the cover behind the gates. It's available at Amazon. It will also be available to order at your local bookstores within about a week.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time.
So much. Go
Absolutely.
Kansas. Go Kansas City Chiefs.
Thank you. Yeah, we're going to need all we can get.
All right,
Have a
great.
great day.
Have a good day. Thanks, Joe.
You too. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.